Hi there, this is Vespasian, and today I am going to be introducing Warlord Games Bolt Action Special Naval Landing Force for the Japanese Army. Well, where should I begin? I really look forward to getting these figures for quite a while. It's a project I am still working on, but we will open the box and see what there is. So here we go. I'm not going to dwell on the actual infantry sprues because they're the same sprues as you get in the normal Japanese army. So if you watch that video, then that will tell you all you need to know about the Japanese army. So we will just concentrate on these guys. In the box you get a collection of heads and equipment. You also get two lead figures, which is this guy, who is a very nice chap, and this guy, who is another nice chap who is running. They've already got the equipment attached to them, so you don't have to worry about that. You just have to add the head and the arms. And the arms are here, which is a samurai sword, well, actually a army sword, which has been used as a attacking weapon, and there is another arm in here somewhere there, firing a pistol, which is quite nice. And you get a officer's hat, a naval ratings hat, and a soldier's hat without a helmet and a band. So there's quite useful little officers' heads there. Now the overall thing you should notice is the extra equipment you get now. These are the gas masks, very important for the Japanese army. All naval landing troops carried gas mask equipment like this. And one important thing I should point out is, although the Germans carried their gas mask bag, their gas mask bag and their gas mask container, they didn't tend to have gas masks inside them after the beginning of the war. They tended to put bread and spare ammunition inside them. These, however, were used during the war because the Japanese did use gas quite consistently in China, although they never actually used it against the Allies, barring a few references on Wikipedia, which are written by people who don't know what they're talking about. Generally, Japan didn't go in for gas warfare in a big scale. If I bring that a little bit closer, you can see the equipment. It's the standard equipment that you get in the plastic sprues, but it has the added effect of a gas mask, complete with tube and the bayonet hanging out underneath. And there's a few different configurations, so you get some real good, fine detailed equipment to add to your figures. This means you have quite a few spares left over in the box, which are ideal for making Japanese zombies. But that's completely different and not what you're playing. Don't worry, I'm going to be doing a video on that soon as well. So there are all the Japanese equipment. Very handy, very useful. And the hats are all the hats used by the Navy, the Special Navy Landing Force, which is the wide brim hat, also used by the Viet Cong during the Vietnam War. So if you're used to seeing those sort of films, then you know what sort of hat I'm talking about. So very useful little hats. There's quite a large selection. There's hats with webbing, there's the big summer hat, and there's the hat with the cloth on the back that prevents flies and things biting you. So very useful, handy. One downside is the Special Navy Landing Force, 3 of them contained parachute units, which were your bog standard parachutists. Unfortunately, you don't get those hats in the box. If you're wanting to do Japanese paratroopers, then by all means get a hat and get some nail scissors and just trim around the edge of the hat. And whatever you do, don't let your wife know you're using her nail scissors. And you will basically have the correct shape for a paratrooper's hat, or paratrooper's helmet. Alternatively, you can get some German paratroopers and use the German paratrooper hat, instead, or the German paratrooper helmet, because the Japanese used the same model hat as the Germans did. Also, they used a standard cloth cap, which is already on the sprues. I think you get 3 of them in the sprues. There they are. They use the standard cloth cap, and they also did use the naval cap, but that was mainly for glider landing troops rather than paratroopers. Glider landing troops are basically these guys who land in a glider. There's no difference in uniform, there's no difference in kit, they wear the same uniform as the Special Naval Landing Force. Paratroopers had slightly different uniform, but in this scale, not really much difference. The only difference is the equipment was black instead of tan khaki. So the belts and the boots were black instead of the dark brown, and instead of puttees, the puttees were black leather. That is the only real difference, and by the later stages of the war they were using standard Army and standard Navy uniform anyway, simply because they couldn't keep them supplied. Overall, a very handy addition to any Japanese army, especially if you're going to be fighting the Americans or stuff like that, because a lot of Special Naval Landing Forces ended up as fortress defence troops, so they're like elite Japanese infantry. Also, you can use them in the early war in China and the Dutch East Indies, places like that, where they spearheaded a lot of the attacks. The paratroopers didn't carry any heavy weapons. A bit like the British, we actually managed to carry a few anti-tank weapons. Japanese paratroopers didn't carry any anti-tank weapons. They basically were supposed to only engage in small unit action, and if they engaged with heavy forces they were supposed to melt into the jungle and wait for the regular army to turn up, or the regular navy. This didn't tend to happen. They usually ended up pretty heavily committed. So if you want to do stuff like that, then I'd advise just using the light weapons that you get in the standard box. But overall, I don't really see a problem with using the standard figures you get in the box with the helmets and just use them as paratroopers and stuff like that anyway. So that's basically it. That is an overall rundown of what you get in the box. I particularly like the helmets, they're so cool. Especially the one in the middle, which has a rather nice, if you can see it, it has a rather nice little cover on the back, which is very cute. And of course the 2 officers, which are quite handy as well. I will paint them up and do another video of them when they're done, and then you'll be able to see them in action, and I might do some up as paratroopers as well. Well, sorry, I will do some up as paratroopers as well. But that's all for now. I hope you liked the video, and I hope it's been useful and handy for you. And if you're planning a Japanese army, these guys are cool. So this has been Vespasian. Please click like and subscribe and leave any comments you like, and thank you very much.